You could feel it. It didn't look like it. It shouldn't have been, but you could kind of feel it. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 in overtime here at PPG Paints Arena. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, the YouTube and the Facebook channels. Do me a favor, give the Facebook page a like, give the YouTube channel a subscribe as well. You'll get notified of the live chats, so on and so forth. Let's dive into the game because the Penguins, the chasm, the Grand Canyon between the good performances and the bad was really remarkable. And yet, through the chaos, get this, some goalie named Tristan Jarry just sent a calm over the arena, including the Penguins bench. Despite Vegas pounding and pounding and pounding away for the better part of the final 30 minutes, Vegas had 19 shots in the third period. The Penguins, I think, only had 4. The final numbers always kind of change by 1 or 2. The Penguins get outshot 19-4 in the third period, and yet they won. 2 reasons for that. 1, Sidney Crosby. Crosby, he didn't have his best overall game, but he made his opportunities count. He battled like Patrick Hornquist in front of the net in the first period. He was getting that puck and that power play goal come hell or high water. That's your captain understanding that if the power play or his line doesn't score, the Penguins aren't going to score. That's Crosby understanding the situation and doing everything he can. He took a bit of a risk in the second period. He scored a goal. He left himself vulnerable as Rickard Rakell was executing a back check. If Rakell isn't successful in creating a loose puck, if Vegas chips the puck off the wall out to center, it's an odd man rush. Crosby gambled, Crosby won. Great players seem to do that, don't they? They know when they can get away with it. Crosby not only gets away with it, he has that loose puck at the blue line and realizes he has acres of space. I mean, he took space, realized he had more space and more space. He gets between the hash marks below the dot and rips one past Vegas goalie Ilya Samsonov. So there it's 2-1. At that point, it was kind of an even-ish game. Vegas had the better, but not dominantly so. At that point, Vegas kind of flipped the switch, and you could see the Corsi on Natural Stat Trick just go like this, right down to the Golden Knights side. The Penguins had less and less and less puck opportunity. Let's get into the chalkboard. I'll explain a little bit here what the Penguins were not able to do before I start dishing the F grades to the players who didn't play well. What the Penguins were not able to do was crack the Vegas low zone defense. Now, bear in mind, the Golden Knights won the 2023 Stanley Cup because they just took away the low end of the ice, took away the net front, took away the corners. They can do that. Bruce Cassidy's system, the defensemen that they have, they're built to do that. And they did that to the Penguins. So by taking away that part of the ice, Vegas also took away the Penguins' low to high game. So the Penguins were kind of caught in between, what to do. They really weren't able to adjust because, Vegas is that good defensively. There's a reason why they have 38 wins this season. Also, because Vegas was blasting away at the Penguins in that defensive zone, the Penguins weren't playing a tight gap. They weren't aggressive enough. They weren't getting enough loose pucks and transitioning to offense. So Vegas just kept, pounding and pounding away. The Penguins didn't transition to loosen them up, to soften them up, which also meant the Penguins didn't have much of a rush game either. So Vegas was able to get back, take away all the space in the offensive zone, and that's what you had. That's why the Penguins didn't get their 17th shot until Erik Karlsson got the winner. I asked Erik after the game, walk me through the winner there. What did you see? I know, I hate the cliche questions, but sometimes, they're cliche because you're curious. And Karlsson kind of gave me that wry smile. It's like, well, I like to pass in that situation. I was looking for someone to pass to. I didn't see anybody, so I just shot it, and it went in. Now, he also admitted that he was able to shoot it exactly where he wanted it. I mean, come on. I called it a wicked wrister in my question. I think that was fair. That was just it was a filthy shot by Karlsson. You almost want to say, do that more. However, I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think it's worth crying over spilt milk at this point in March. Whatever's happened in the first 5 months of the season has in fact happened. So the Penguins win. Now let's get to the rough grades here, because there was just such a wide difference. Now, Boko Imama is not going to play 10 minutes. Defending a lead in a game that's not overly physical, you're not going to see Imama out there. That's not his game. Don't get all, Mike Sullivan hates tough players. No, he played, I think, 4 minutes and some odd. That's an appropriate amount, and that's what a guy in his situation across the league is going to play. Emil Bemstrom got benched. The Penguins' third pairing. And but let me backtrack on Bemstrom just real quick. After some real promise in his first couple of games with the Penguins before the Four Nations break, he's not playing the same. I'm kind of disappointed, because I really thought he had that underdog chance to break through on this NHL stint, but he's quickly giving it away. Just no other way to say it. Okay, the third pairing, the Penguins' third pairing defenseman, that is Ryan Graves and Connor Timmins, essentially got benched as well. Graves was really weak with the puck on his skates and in the defensive zone. And by weak, I mean able to be knocked off the puck, not purposeful, not a lot of intent in his skating strides, didn't play the puck crisply. It was just, it was a sort of a meek performance from Ryan Graves. It's hard to notice Timmins. And also, I'm not going to give Timmins the F that I gave Ryan Graves in the PHN report card, only because he's played 2 games with the Penguins. He's still figuring it out, and I'm sure the Penguins realized they were under siege. They didn't want to toss him into shark-infested waters. It was just not the right time to leave him exposed. So, while he may have been benched as well, it doesn't carry the same connotation as it does with Ryan Graves. Some other, I thought, pretty poor performances came from the second line. Malkin, I thought, was actually pretty good in the defensive zone. He did his job in the D zone. His wingers, however, didn't. And that is Danton Heinen and Philip Tomasino. They needed to be a lot stiffer. They needed to be on a lot more pucks. They needed to be faster out of the zone. I mean, they have to lead. They have to get that puck forward and help drag Malkin forward, because Malkin is playing 200 feet. He's down near the goal line. He's down below the dots defending. The wingers needed to be tighter up at the blue line, create some block shots, create some loose pucks or turnovers to be able to take the puck the other way. Now, I know that's one of the things that Tomasino is working on. Against the very good Golden Knights, he clearly struggled, and Danton Heinen was sort of largely invisible as well. And with a few Golden Knights staring at them in the offensive zone, they weren't able to create space or shots on goal, so I delivered a pair of Fs there as well. I've been reticent to grade Tomasino because I know it's kind of a work in progress, but I feel like after 30-some games, we can begin to be a little critical, or critique him at least. Not a very good game from either of those two wingers. So I think the Penguins' power play was also very hit and miss after they got that first goal. In their first 3 opportunities, the team had 3 power plays in the first period and just 4 total shots. On a couple of them, they had goose eggs. That's the kind of stuff that will drive you nuts. When you have an opportunity like that, you've got to push forward and got to add more. these are the things that I suppose will be taught to the next era of the Penguins. I'm not sure you're going to convince Erik Karlsson or Chris Letang or Matt Grzelcyk and so on and so forth just how important those opportunities are. They already know. It was just the Vegas PK won the battle decisively after Crosby's, net front battle, win, and goal. So the Penguins have another home game on Thursday. God help me, I have no idea who it's against. It's one of those, listen, I am day to day. I got home late. I worked all Monday and Tuesday I'm at the morning skate. I swear I live at a hockey rink. Do me a favor, subscribe, like, and send this along on the YouTube and the Facebook platforms. We did ask for 5 questions. And so here we go, via the X machine. 5 questions to wrap up this Penguins post-game video. Melissa asks, why wasn't Jarry one of the 3 stars? If you really take the 3 stars seriously, yes, it was an omission. I happen to know who picked the 3 stars, and I'm not going to toss him under the bus. I thought about it. But it was because Erik Karlsson scores the game winner, I would assume they want to give the fans, they want to give the fans Erik Karlsson. And, I would have picked Sidney Crosby as my number 1 star, Jarry as my number 2, but not a lot of thought goes into the 3 stars. I'm sorry, folks. In generations past, media used to vote on them with like 5 or 10 minutes to go. Now, one of the Penguins people picks them. I can assure you they don't sit down and go over all of the statistics and the game notes, and, they're not spending half an hour on that. Question 2 from Brian Reynolds, supporter. If Jarry continues to play like this, is he the starter? Well, yes. Plain and simple. Don't forget the Penguins are paying Jarry $5.375 million. They are not going to just dump him if they think it can be saved. Now, if Joel Blomqvist had come up and seized his opportunity and was playing, lights out hockey, kind of like he did in the first part of October, and Jarry doesn't get back to the NHL, well, Jarry would have been a prime buyout candidate. And he still is. That's 2 games. So your question is phrased correctly, if he continues. Those are 3 extraordinarily important words. If he continues, absolutely, he'll be the starting goalie. And that's the way the Penguins organization wants it. They want the players to decide who's on the ice. That's the way professional sports and competition is supposed to work. You're not going to throw Blomqvist in there hoping he plays better. Now Joel has to fight his way back. 3, Jake says, will the Penguins keep Jarry? Again, 2 games. Let's not go too far ahead of ourselves. But let's just say over the next, what do they have? 15 games. Over the next 15 games, if Jarry shows the best version of himself, I would think keeping him is more likely than not. He also might play his way into a summer trade, which the Penguins very well might be open to. Or they keep him and hope that they get the best version of Jarry next season. Number 4 from Felix, and our final question. Here we go. Thoughts on Vladislav Kolyachonok? It's only been a few games. I again, just like Connor Timmins, who's only played a couple of games, I'm hesitant and I don't really want to grade Kolyachonok just because he's still getting his feet wet. I will tell you, I think you and I are going to disagree. I think a lot of the fans want him to succeed, and so you see the one good play. I'm seeing a lot of bad plays. I'm seeing him go the wrong way, yielding Jack Eichel a breakaway tonight. I'm not seeing battle near the net, or enough battle at the net front. I'm not seeing enough offense. I know he hit the post tonight, but that's kind of an isolated sort of thing, him in the offensive zone. I don't necessarily see a high ceiling. Having said that, if something clicks, obviously the Penguins are hoping, those skills that he has clicks, and he becomes a bit more assertive in the offensive zone, and he becomes a little more contact prone in the defensive zone, and he figures out, this whirling dervish of defending in the NHL. He hasn't to this point for Florida, Utah, and now the Penguins. That's not to say he can't. I think this is the right situation for him, full stop. I think a team in the Penguins situation, they've got 15 games. They can throw him into the deep end, as they are doing with P.O. Joseph out week to week with an upper body injury. They can put him on the pairing with Chris Letang. And let's just see what happens, right? What's the worst that can happen? The Penguins lose some games and get a better draft pick. Oh no. Not exactly consequence that you'd fear. So I don't see a lot of good yet. I think it's possible that it happens, but don't necessarily go out and buy your Kolyachonok jersey just yet. So, from PPG Paints Arena, that's it. Dave and Shelley have practice tomorrow. I'm actually going to try to, walk in some sunshine, grab a slice of pizza downtown. Who knows? After I write 3 articles on Pittsburgh Hockey Now. So check them out. I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms.